Very good afternoon. My name is Manoj Kumar. Today in this lecture, we will discuss about Python features, IDE of Pythons, and how we can execute and write a Python program. This is the table of content. At first, we will discuss about what is Python, then what are the features of Python, what are different IDEs that are used for writing and executing a Python program, and in the last, we will see with an example how to write and execute a Python program. What is the process of writing and executing a Python program? So let's start with the introduction of Python. What is Python? Python is a programming language. But what type of programming language Python is? Python is a high-level, interactive, object-oriented, and interpreted programming language. And Python is used for the development of website, software, task automation, data analysis, and data visualization purpose. So, Python is interpreted language. What does it means? It means Python is an interpreted language. It means when we execute a Python program, then there is no need to compile a Python program. Like Java, at first we write a Java program, and after that we write the command for the compilation of Python program for Java program. Once the Java program is compiled, then bytecode file is created, and that bytecode is used by the JVM to execute a Java program. But in case of Python, when we execute a Python program, then compilation process is already completed at the time of execution. It means there is no separate need to compile a Python program. Compilation of a Python program is automatically take place when we write the command or when we execute a Python program. It means compilation of Python program take place at the time of execution. There is no need to when a Python program compiled, then a bytecode file is created, and that bytecode run by the Python virtual machine. But here the bytecode file is not stored like the Java. Okay, so bytecode is hidden from the user. So that is why we say that Python is interpreted. But in true sense, Python is both. It is compiled also and interpreted also. But since the compilation process is hidden from the user or hidden from the programmer, that is why we generally say that Python is interpreted. But Python is both. It is compiled as well as interpreted. Compilation process of Python take place during the execution itself. Okay. Second one is the Python is interactive. Python is interactive. It means that we can directly write the Python code on the Python interpreter, and we can simply press the enter to execute that particular code. There are several methods of writing a Python program or Python code. We will discuss in the next slide, in the last slide of this lecture. It means it is an interactive language, means we can directly write the code on the interpreter and execute it. That is why Python is known as the interactive language. Third is Python is object oriented language. An object oriented language is a language or is a programming language that support the features of object oriented programming concept like inheritance, encapsulation, polymorphism. So Python, in Python, all implementation of all the object oriented programming principles is possible. We can create a class in Python, we can create the object in Python, and all the features like inheritance, polymorphism, and encapsulation that can be implemented in Python. So that is why Python is known as the object oriented language. There are two terms. First one is the object oriented, second one is the object based. There is a difference between these two terms, object based language and object oriented language. Object based language is a language in which we can write a program or implement a program using the concept of object and class. Object and class concept exist in object based language, but a object based language doesn't support all the features of object oriented principle like inheritance feature. But a object oriented language support the concept of class and object, as well as it support the concept of object oriented programming concept like inheritance, polymorphism, and encapsulation. So object based and object oriented, these are two different terms. Object based language is different and object oriented language is different. Since the Python support the concept of class and object, and it's also support the concept of polymorphism, inheritance, and encapsulation, which are the concept of object oriented programming. So that is why Python is known as the object oriented language. Next one is the Python is high level language. What do you mean by the high level language? A programming is known as the high level programming language in which it is easy for user to write a program. Like C is also a high level programming language, Python is also a high level programming language, because in Python it is user friendly. C it is user friendly, it means it is easy for the user or programmer to write the program in Python. It has a proper syntax, proper semantic, proper structure of the program. Okay, so that is why Python is known as the high level language. So in conclusion, we can say that Python is an interactive, interpreted, object oriented and high level language which is used for various purposes. It is used for the development of the website, it is used for the development of the software, it is used for task or automation purpose, it is used for data analysis like in the field of data science and data visualization purpose. Okay, so this is the introduction of Python. Next, various features of Python. These are also the features of Pythons, like Python is interpreted, interactive, object-oriented, high-level. Apart from these features, there are some extra features of the Python. First one is it easy to learn. Python, since the Python has a few keyword, less keyword, it has a simple programming structure and the syntax of Python is easy. So it is easy to learn a Python programming language for a beginner as well as a intermediate. Okay. Second, it is easy to read. Python code is more readable. If the code is readable, then it increases the understandability of the program. So it is for a program, it is very necessary that program should be written in a readable language, or readability of the program should be clear. And for the readability, to improve the readability of a program, we use the concept of comment in our program, in any programming language, like it is C, it is Java, it is Python. So comment are used to increase the readability of a program. By reading the comment, we can, it is easy to us, it makes easy to understand a particular program. Next one is the easy to maintain. Python source code is very easy to maintain, to compile, to run, execute. Okay. Next, a broad standard of library. Libraries are the predefined functions or predefined things that are used that are inbuilt in the programming language software. Like in case of C, the stdio.s, this is the predefined header file. Conio.s, this is the predefined header file. So when we use a predefined functionality of a programming language, that is basically implemented in the form of libraries. So similar in case of Python, we can use predefined modules. Okay, for using the predefined things. Like if I want to print a message, then print function, that is a predefined things. So if I want to use some mathematical concept, like I want to calculate the square root of a number, I want to calculate the power of a number, in that case we have to import the math module inside the Python. So Python has a rich libraries, it has a rich modules from which it is easy to make several programs in Python, or to access the predefined functionalities implemented in Python software. Next one is the interactive modes. Python is a interactive programming language, as I earlier discussed, that we can write the program on the interpreter and execute itself on the interpreter. There is no need to separately store if write a file program in a file. We can do that, but in interactive mode we can directly write the program on interpreter and execute it. Next feature is portable. Python can run a various hardware platform. It means there is no restrictions of the hardware or computer system architecture, that Python will run only this type of computer system and this type of computer system will not support. So since there are different types of hardware in a computer system, different type of architecture of each hardware, so Python is compatible most of the hardware or most of the architectures of the computer system. Extendable means we can add the low level modules to the Python interpreter, or we can customize it. Next one is the data support. So when we develop a software in a Python, then generally for a software there are two parts. First part is the front end and second part is the back end. Back end part basically consists of the database, where suppose I am designing a particular form, then that form is a GUI, that form is a front end of my project. And when we entering the data in that form, in the field of that form, and I am clicking on the submit button, then after that data will be inserted in the database. Okay, so there are various type of database used for the software, like Oracle database, MySQL database, and some other SQL server. So various type of database is supported by the Python. It means if we are developing a software with a Python, then as a database we can also take the SQL server, we can also take the MySQL, we can also take the Oracle. So it support a variety of database software. Next one is the GUI programming. If I am developing a Windows based product, or developing a web based project, then it support the GUI programming. That front end is known as the GUI. GUI means graphical user interface, where I am creating some kind of menu, I am creating some kind of text field, I am creating some kind of text area, I am creating some kind of combo box or list, I am creating some kind of scroll bar, I am adding some kind of button on it. So this type of programming is known as the GUI programming, where we simply drag and drop. So that type of form can be designed, that type of GUI components can be designed in Python programming language. So this is also a features of Python programming. Next one is the scalable. Python provide a better structure and support for the large program. It means it is easy to add some new module for the Python software. It is a scalable programming language. So these were some features of Python programming. It is interpreted, it is interactive, it is object oriented, it is a high level language, it is easy to learn, easy to read, easy to maintain a Python program, and it support a large number of libraries or modules. It support the interactive mode. Python also support the scripting mode. I will discuss in the later in the next slide of this lecture. Python is portable, extendable language. It support the database and GUI programming. It is a scalable language. So this is the basic introductions of the Python and the features of the Python programming language. Now let us discuss about the Python IDE. IDE is basically known as the Integrated Development Environment. Integrated Development Environment is a platform which provide us the facility of developing the software or writing a program and executing a program or compiling a program. It is all the compilers, interpreter, all the tools which are required for the writing, executing, compiling a particular program, they are inbuilt in a single software. So IDE is a GUI based software where we have some menus, some icons for executing or compiling a particular program, particular task. So that is known as the IDE, Integrated Development Environment. IDE is used for various type of languages, like NetBeans is the IDE of Java, Eclipse is the IDE of Java. In the same way, IDE also comes for the Python programming language. It means those are the platform on which we can write a Python program and execute a Python program. Okay, so these IDE are used to work with application specific platform, and Python IDE also helps in making the web pages, app, and some new software. So when we want to develop or design and develop a particular software in Python programming language, then we generally use the IDE for the Python programming language. Okay, so various type of IDE that are used for developing the Python's related project or for developing a Python program that are Python IDE, PyCharm, Visual Studio, Jupyter Notebook, Spider, PyDev, and Atom. Apart from this, there are some other IDE also, but these IDE are generally mostly used when we develop a particular project or software in the Python programming language. So which IDE to use and when? Okay, this question comes in the mind of a beginner, that which IDE is better among these. So these IDEs have some specific features or some specific tasks, or these IDE like Jupyter Notebook, that is especially used for the data science project. So okay, so I will discuss in this slide. So we can categorize it the use of different IDE or which IDE is better on the basis of three levels. First is the basic level, or based on the level of knowledge. It means if someone is new for the Python programming language, he is beginner, then IDLE is used. IDLE is known as Integrated Development and Learning Environment. IDLE is the IDE of the Python software. It means when we installed a Python software on our computer system, then the IDLE is already installed. It means this is inbuilt in the Python software itself. There is no need to install any other extra IDE for the Python. If we have installed the Python successfully in our computer system, then the IDE LE is already installed, or you can say that this is the IDE of Python software by default. Okay. But if there is a person who has already worked on the Python programming language, he is intermediary, then they can work for PyCharm and Visual Studio Code. Okay. So this is according to the level of knowledge. If someone is new or someone is beginner for Python programming language, then this is suggested that he should use IDE. And if someone has already worked on Python programming language and he is at intermediate level user, then he can use PyCharm and Visual Studio Code for developing the Python program or for making the software in Python programming language. Second one is the based on your end goal. It means for what purpose you are making the Python program, or for what purpose you are developing a software in Python programming language. On the basis of that, we can use a specific Python IDE. Like for example, in case of data science, if we are working on the project related to the data science, it means where a lot of work related to the data analysis and data visualization is involved. In that case, we can use the Spider, Python IDE, Jupyter Notebook, or PyCharm. It is suggested that if you are working on the data science related work, then you can use these IDE for developing your project. Next, if we are developing some kind of website in Python, then Visual Code or PyCharm is suggested. Scripting, if we are working related to the data analysis or for data visualization, like I am writing, I have a data set, and by extracting those data set, I have to plot some kind of graphs. I have to represent the information in form of graphical form. In that case, I can use these type of IDE. Next one, based on the hardware. Okay, so based on the hardware, if our computer system is basic computer system, then we can use the IDE. Or if it is advanced computer system, like if we are going to work related to the according to the configuration of the machine learning, if we want to work the machine learning related project, then we have to use the PyCharm, Jupyter, and Spider. Okay, so this was about the IDE. What do you mean by the Python IDE? These are different types of IDE that is used for the Python related project. Okay, and which IDE is used and when, or which IDE is better, then we can classify according to these three categories. Okay, now let us discuss about writing and executing a Python program. How we can write and execute a Python program. A Python programming language supports two types of mode. First one is the interactive mode, second one is the script mode. And again, we can use the script mode with two things, like with command prompt and with IDE. So we will discuss all three methods in this lecture. So first one is the interactive mode. Interactive, as I already discussed that Python is an interactive programming language. It means we can directly write our code on the Python interpreter and press enter to execute that particular code. So that type of work is known as the interactive mode. It means whenever we are not typing our code in a separate file or not saving any kind of file after writing the code, we simply write the command or program on the interpreter and execute it on the interpreter. That type of mode is known as the interactive mode. So if we want to work on interactive mode in Python, then we have to follow some kind of step. Like first step, Python program that we have installed will be default act as an interpreter. There is a Python interpreter on which we write the code and execute it. Okay, so Python interpreter takes text command, and to run those commands we have to press the enter. Okay, so once we have installed the Python successfully, then we will go to the Python interpreter. So when we open the Python interpreter, then such type of image or such type of window will be appear on your computer screen. Background may be white also, or background may be black also. Okay, so such type of window will be appear on your screen. This is here. This is known as the Python prompt. This symbol is known as the Python prompt. After this symbol, we will type our Python code or Python command and then execute it. Like for this define the Python prompt, where we have to write our Python program. Like suppose I have to print a message hello bird. Then after this Python prompt, we will simply use the print function and we will simply write the message inside the double quotes that we want to display, and after writing this command, when I will press the enter, then the output will be appear on the same window. So this is the interactive mode of the Python. In case of interactive mode, we simply write the command or our program on the Python interpreter, and we will press the enter and output will appear on the screen. This is the interactive mode, but this mode will be suggested only when you have your program is small. You have like such type of command, small command, then you can use interactive mode. But if your program is larger, then we will suggest you to go for the script mode. You have to write a program in a file, save the file with .py extension, and that execute those file. Okay. Next method is the scripting mode with the command prompt. So what happen in case of script mode, a Python program can be written in a file, and after that that file will be saved as the file name .py extension, and on the command prompt we will run that particular file or that particular Python program. So the process that we will use is in scripting mode with Python command have certain steps, and these steps are as follow. Step 1, make a file using the text editor like Notepad. We simply open the Notepad, and after that we can use we can write our code in the Notepad, and after writing the code or after writing the program, we will follow the step second, where we have to save our program with a file name .py extension, like suppose abc.py. We will save it. Now after that we will follow the step 3. In step 3 we will go to the command prompt. In our computer system, we go to the command prompt. There are several methods, like we can in search we can type cmd, then press enter. Command prompt will appear on the screen. So on command prompt, at first we have to go to the directory or folder where we have saved our Notepad file, in our where we have to save our Python program. So at first on command prompt, at first we have to set the path of directory of folder where we have to where we have saved our Python program. After that we will type the Python command. Python command is used to execute a Python program. So then we type the Python and file name .py. After that we will press enter. After pressing the enter, output will appear on our command prompt. So we open a Notepad file, then we will write our code on the Notepad, and after that we will save it. Like for example here the file name is hello gfg.py extension with py extension. Okay, so this is our Notepad file where I am writing my program, and I will save this program inside a particular folder in a specific directory, and I will give the file name, like this is the file name, and .py, this is the extension for the Python program. Okay, now I will open the command prompt, and on command prompt I will go to the path. I will set the path where this particular Notepad file is saved. Like for example, I have created a folder on desktop, folder name is Python. So at first, in order to execute this Python program, this Notepad file, this script file, we have to go inside the path. Okay, so for setting the path, at first I will go inside the Python folder where this particular file is saved. Then in order to execute that particular file, that particular program, I will use the command Python. After that, Python name .py. So when this Python command is used to execute a Python program. So when we enter, after typing this command, when we press the enter, then the output will appear here. Okay, this was the message, my message that I want to print or display in the program. So in this way we can write a program in a Notepad file, save that particular program with file name .py extension inside a folder. After that we will open our command prompt, and at first we will set the path where I have we will set the path to the folder where I have saved my Notepad file, like here. Okay, after that, to execute the particular program, we will use the command Python. After that, space file name .py. When we press enter, then output will appear on the command prompt. So this was the second method where we can write a program in a Notepad file, save it, and run it on the command prompt. Next one is the third method is script mode and execute it Python IDE. It means what I am doing here. Here I am writing the program on the UI by using the IDE. It means the IDE which is inbuilt in the Python software, I will use that. So at first what I will do, I will open the IDE. So I will go to the Python inside the program, then click on Python IDE. So once I will click on the Python IDE, then the IDE user interface will appear to me. So in order to write a particular like this, this is the interface, the Python IDE. So I have to write a particular program. That for that purpose I will click on file, then I will click on new, then a new file will be open. Here I will like the notepad will be open, where I will write our program, and after that I will save it. But if the file is already present, then I can use the open to run the already written code. Open the file and execute that particular file. So once I will write my code and save it with .py extension, then in order to run that particular program, I will follow the step second, and that step is that I will go to the run, and again after clicking on run, there will be option run module. So when we click on the run module, then my program will run. If there is any kind of error, then error message will appear on the screen. But if there is no error in my Python program, then Python program will execute successfully, and the output will appear like this. Here in this program, what I am doing, I am accepting two numbers from the user. Like for entering the number from the user, the input function is used. So input, enter the first number, then input, enter the second number, and after that if I am performing the addition, then a plus b, I can print the value of a plus b, then addition of those number will be performed, will appear on the screen. Actually addition command here, addition statement is missing. I have just simply taken the snapshot for giving the example of the IDE. After this we have to write a program, like we have to write a code like print a plus b. So when after this when this statement will execute, then the addition will be performed, and the value these two number will be added, and the addition will appear on the screen. Okay, thank you.